Hello everyone. If you're going to farm, you're going to need some equipment. Let's talk about that. What you're going to need and where can you get it? What to look for, what to avoid. So, if you're farming, looking to get into farming, thinking about doing some small scale vegetables, thinking about doing whatever, chances are you're going to need some equipment. Now, a lot of farmers will get that equipment from family, either an uncle, a grandpa, father, or someone who is retired, or they've got an old tractor or an old something other that they don't use no more, and they will sell it to you at a reduced price or something like that. That's a great place to get it, and we'll talk a little bit more about where to get farm equipment in a minute. We'll also talk about what do you need. If you are a small farmer, and primarily I can only speak to being a small farmer because that's what I am. That's what I know, that's what I do, so I can only speak to that. Large farmers, for the most part, this will cover all farming in general. But if you're a farmer, chances are you can't start out farming or transition into a different type of farming and go out and buy all new equipment. This stuff's expensive, and your profit margin farming is not the greatest in the world to begin with, so you just can't do it. If you have the money to go out and buy all new farming equipment, yeah, probably shouldn't be farming to start with. All right, it's ridiculous. You can drop $500,000 even on a small scale in farm equipment in a hurry. I mean, these things are not cheap. But let's talk about that. This is a 2005 John Deere 5205 tractor. It's a small utility tractor. When I started out, I used my dad's 1365 1974 Oliver for 6 years, and until I bought this tractor. And I bought this tractor new. Now, when I bought this tractor, I also used a lot of my dad's implements until I slowly started buying them up. Good thing about buying new equipment, you get a warranty. No one else has used it. No one has beat it up, etc., etc., etc. Now, last year, 2017, I wanted to add a tractor to the operation, and I wanted to add a little more horsepower. I wanted a cab, and I wanted a front end loader. Okay, now I couldn't afford to pay $60,000 to $90,000 for a new one. Just couldn't afford to do it. So I looked and looked and looked and looked, and I found a used New Holland TN70D. Okay, so I purchased it. It was the tractor that I was looking for to do the job I was looking to do with it at the price that I could afford. Okay, and my door pin is about to fall out right there. Gotta get that taken care of. That could be trouble in a hurry. But so if you're going to look to start farming or change up farming, what you're going to be growing and how you're growing it also will determine what you need. Okay, if you're growing like us, we're growing small vegetables. We have to do a certain tillage on our ground, so we're going to need certain implements for that. Three main pieces we're going to need is a ripper plow, all-purpose plow some people call them. We're going to need moorboard plows, a turning plow, bottom plow, whatever you want to call them. We're going to need those, and we're going to need a set of disc cars. Okay, now all of this equipment here was purchase used. And if you're going to purchase used equipment, you need to know you can save a lot of money by buying used equipment. You can also get ripped off real quick buying used equipment. You need to know the difference between used and abused and worn out. And if you don't know, get someone to go with you that does. Okay? So, this, it's pretty obvious. I mean, you got 8 bearings and your coulters. If the coulters are all broke up and the bearings beat out of it, avoid it. But other than that, it's pretty easily spotted what's worn and what's not. And of course, if it's broken welded, that tells you it's probably been abused. Brush cutter, bush cutter, I mean, you can look at them, you can tell this one's had the crap beat out of it. I bought it new, I beat the crap out of it. That's what happened. The drum mower. Let's use the drum mower for instance here. Now, I had a disc mower. Bought it new, wore it out. And this wind may be rough. I don't know. I wore it out. I could have bought a new disc mower for around 10 grand. I wound up buying this for around 4. Okay, why did I do that? I like the way this machine performs. It does a good job. I can buy 2.5 of them for what I can buy this mower. At the time, I just didn't have 10 grand, to be blunt. And it serves the function. Used hay equipment, be cautious. I mean, you can look at it and see, well, it looks good here, but you don't know how many hours it's got on it, how many acres. You don't know about the gearbox, etc., etc., etc. Be cautious with stuff like that. So, kind of things to look for. Scraper blade, pretty obvious. You can see what's worn, what's not. Turning plows, you can see a lot of things that are worn on them, but these are spring trip plows, safety trips, and the tripper mechanism in here, you can't really tell. One thing you can do is take a wrench and hook to this tripper and just feel of it to see if it feels like it's worn or not. That's one thing you can do, but you really don't know. Okay? Farm tractor. If you're looking to buy a used farm tractor. I bought this one out of state. But fortunately, was able to talk to someone, a friend of a friend, if you will, knew the guy that had this tractor, knew the tractor, and was able to tell us about how he used it, etc., etc. Other tillage tools, this thing's bent, worn, twisted. You wouldn't want to buy it used. It's just beat up. You can tell that. So that's some of the things you want to look for. You can save a lot of money. And like I said, you can lose a lot of money. New stuff can be expensive. If you're buying new stuff, another thing to keep in mind, you're going to need parts. If it's an obsolete piece that they don't make no more or haven't made in a long time, be cautious. You may not be able to get parts for it, and you're going to need parts. You know, John Deere's good support. So far, New Holland's been good support as far as parts. Now, where do you get this stuff? Well, you can go to auction houses. You can use online or public classified papers, Craigslist, stuff like that. That's a place to get it. But usually the best place to purchase used farm equipment, you can get it at the dealer. You know, you can always go to a dealer. There's dealers around. The best place usually, though, is find a farmer who's retiring or an estate sale from a farmer. Go to their place, look at their operation. You know, if it's a nice, neat, tidy operation, all the equipment looks like it's well maintained stuff, that's usually a good place to start. But there's a couple things to keep in mind. Know what you're looking at, and if you don't, get an old farmer or someone who knows stuff, a mechanic or something, to go with you and look at it. Number 2, just because you're saving on a used piece up front, if you can't get parts for it, if it's worn out, if it's past repair, it may cost you in the long run. Number 3, new stuff, you have the dealer support and warranty. It's pricey. If you're in it for a long term, it may be the best way to go. Another thing to think about is, you know, do they still make it? And can you get parts for it? Just like the turning plows, they've not made them plows in nearly 30 years. So if I were to go out, and I bought that set off my father, so I knew that set of plows, or trading him out of them. But if I were to go buy a used set today, and used is my only option because they don't make it anymore, I would not buy a set of spring trip because I can't see that tripper mechanism. I'd buy a set of sure bolt, because if the wear parts on the frog's not worn out, I can always replace sure bolt, no big deal. So I wouldn't be looking for a set of spring trip. But that's just some thoughts, comments on farming and farming equipment. My thoughts, doesn't mean they're 100% correct, but that's the way I approach it. It works for me. So if you like what we're doing, we're kind of going through a lot of this stuff right now because I'm not doing a whole lot in the field. And like I said, I'm going to try to give a very in-depth look at the operation. So we're trying to cover everything. If you like what I'm doing, subscribe to me. Like our comment, or like our videos. Comment on them. Tell us what you think. If you don't like them, let us know. If there's something you'd like to see, questions, so forth, so on, let us know. Till next time, take care of yourself.